Good evening. Welcome to Lightwind Tarot 24. I probably ought to change the name of the channel, don't you think? But we'll keep it what it is for now. To my followers, my viewers out there, as far as I know, my YouTube, I only have 11 to 12 subscribers. My comments are open. I cannot see them. If ever I've made enough money for YouTube to monetize this channel, I have never seen a single penny of it. I initially started this to try to support myself, and they don't want me even to do that. Last 4 years for me have been a doozy. They got me so down that I was literally digging in garbage cans just to try to scrape up enough recyclables to buy a pack of cigarettes. Couldn't even do that some days. They're nasty. And I'm going to tell you a secret. You want to really know how to tick off a reptilian? Call them scaly. Whoa, that really burns them up. But be ready, because they'll get combative. Woo, they're nasty. I thought that was rather entertaining today. He got combative with me. He wanted to argue, and I just turned around and looked at him, and I says, "You're under judgment." And he was trying to get favor with me, and I says, "Hey, time for choosing sides is done. Okay, there's no more deciding. You're either with us or you're against us. Tick. That's it. That's it. Time's up." That I do know. And yes, Mr. Aykroyd, those are your skulls. I also found those digging in the trash. And they do talk to you. They really do. Which is why I keep them close. For those of you who don't know, this is to ward off the evil eye. And this is the Eye of Horus. It protects you from theft, which is why it's here. We'll see how it goes. Oh, where to begin tonight? Well, who wants to hear about Atlantis? We're going to talk about Atlantis, and this is going to be very relevant. There were two Atlantises that I know of. One was on Mars, and the history of that Atlantis you can find in a book by Jose Arguelles called The Arcturus Probe. The story is that there was a weapon on Jupiter, and Jupiter was so appalled by the sexuality of the Maldekians that he blasted an incredibly powerful weapon at Maldek, and it obliterated it and left it in pieces, and it is now our asteroid belt. I don't have confirmation of that, but I believe it. And then that weapon was turned again on Mars, and that was what finished Mars and left a scar on Mars. But there was another Atlantis, and that was here. And that is where the Atlantic Ocean is now. The western edges of Atlantis would have been the eastern United States all the way to the Keys. And it also would have included some of Canada, as far as Norway, and even edges of the continent of Africa. And that is true. Well, the reason we're talking about Atlantis is because we're going to discuss the Atlanteans on Earth. Atlantis, and this has been shown to me by Spirit, was divided into quadrants. There were 4 royal bloodlines that were appointed by God, and they were as gods, and they ruled Atlantis. And just like the song by Donovan says, the ships were dispatched. I don't know if our Atlantis was destroyed by the same weapon that destroyed Mars and Maldek, but it did sink. We all know that. And I gotta stop and think for a minute. They don't want me to tell you this. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together. Holy Spirit, help me, help me, help me. The Merovingians. That's where we were going with this. The Merovingians. The Merovingians were Atlantean. The Merovingians had 4 types of DNA. And this is why my collective are being studied and experimented on so badly. And I'm going to tell you what all 4 of those strains of DNA are composed of. 1 is fish. 1 is man. 1 is serpent. And 1 is what you may know as the Fae. Merovingian women had an incredible gift. Something that scared the hell out of our enemies. There is a passage of scripture in the Bible that says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Older translations of it were, "Thou shalt not suffer a poisoner to live." And yet even further back in those translations, and I have the deepest amount of gratitude to the authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail. Oh, hold on a second. I'm getting some interference. I'll get back to what I was talking about. Oh, the Masons aren't happy about this. You better be quiet, you Jezebel. I won't tolerate you. You are not a Magdalene, and you are not the Eastern Star. And I hope you enjoy the maggots that are now crawling in your wombs. That is your judgment, and that is by God. We're not going to tolerate pedophilia. Whew. Give me a second. It'll pass. Okay, because they don't want you to know this. I don't even know if they know it. Anyhow, Merovingian women had the ability to produce a seed. Jesus, I'm sorry if this offends people, but I'm going to tell you the truth, was not the only child ever conceived of Immaculate Conception. The Krishna, his mother, Immaculate Conception. The peacemaker of the Iroquois, Decaida, was also conceived through Immaculate Conception. His mother produced a seed. Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan, also the same. Their mother, his mother, that's just 2 of his names, was able to produce a seed. As far as I know, the child is always a male. The child always comes when things are out of balance. And they come to bring things back into balance again. I believe we're coming into that cycle again now. Something else I think you might find interesting when you go to the New Testament, when Jesus was getting ready for the Last Supper, and he told the disciples the sign to look for would be a man carrying a water pitcher. Now, astrologers, I'm sure you've already figured it out, but those of you that don't know, in astrology, that would be the symbol of Aquarius, a man bearing a water pitcher. So you see how things are encoded in the Bible. I'm sure they've been scrambled, but I just thought that was something interesting to point out to you. So we're in the age of Aquarius. We now know who the Merovingians were. We now know what the Merovingians can do, and we now know why they're so afraid of us. So you understand now. You know who I am. I know who I am. I could conceive this child overnight, with or without the help of my beloved, and you know it. And that's what frightens you. And this child will be known as the Morning Star, because he's Lou, and he's coming back. Now, let's pick up where I left on the last video. Well, as I said, Lou and I made a trade. Lou took back the pentacle It was his. It was forged by his hand. It had been in the family that passed it to me for at least, as far as they could tell, 350 years. They were Irish and Italian. And before Tell passed away, he passed it to me. And now Lou has it. But Lou left me something else. And yes, I found it in the trash, but I know who made sure I found it. Because my attention was not drawn to this little shiny, wink wink, until the pentagram, and I'm going to call it a pentagram, came up missing. Spirit told me one day to put the coin in my pocket. Okay. I didn't question it. I figured Spirit tells me to hold on to it. There must be a reason. Well, that very day, I got tracked down by another human trafficker. And this time he had the nerve to pull up next to a clinic where I was heading for an appointment. And he was not only trying to corner and intimidate me with his black magic, but he was eyeballing the children that were getting off of the bus, the immigrant children. So whoever out there is saying I'm a racist, enjoy the curses the Lord's going to put on you. I don't know what they are, but I'm tired of the lies. Evil's evil. I don't care what color it is. And good is good. I don't care what color it is. So cut it out. Tired of the smear campaign. And I started feeling intimidated. And I started feeling frightened because these jerks tracked me and my children from Helena, Montana to Livermore Falls, Maine. And then from Livermore Falls, Maine to Augusta, where we got on a Greyhound bus. And then they followed us all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina. Scariest damn day of my life. And I still remember the day. February 3rd, 2010. Look up what happened that day. Look up what happened that day. Yeah, they were going to be sacrificed, those children. And they thought they were going to take me and mine, too. Managed to outwit them. They're actually pretty dumb. You just got to think ahead of them, that's all. Be happy to teach y'all sometime. But we're not going to get into that on the air. Anyhow, where was I going with this? Oh, the human trafficker. There is an energy that these scum have. Now, I don't know if other people can feel it or not, but I'm a highly sensitive empath, and I can feel it. And all of a sudden, it's like your adrenaline starts to kick in. And it feels like something's beating on your heart chakra. And it puts you into an immediate flight or fight response. And generally it's so uncomfortable and it amps up your fear so much that you don't want to be around them. You just turn away and walk. You don't want, you run, whatever. And this day, as soon as I realized what was going on, as soon as I saw the children getting off the bus, all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I'm not crazy. This is all real. I've never been crazy. What they did was they sent their demons to attack my mind till it drove me crazy, but I was never really crazy. Excuse me just a moment, folks. I need a sip of tea. And I got to thinking about my life partner, Tell. I believe the LDS, you remember him. He was a good man. He was a good man. Anyway, Tell got cancer. He had a tumor in his brain. And he died from it. I had no contact with family. I had absolutely no friends. He was my only friend. I had one other friend who also died within about 2 weeks of Tell's passing. And that friend of mine died from diabetes. So I found myself all alone. I had to go through the whole process of grief alone. I had to handle the funeral arrangements alone. I had to deal with all of it alone. And all of a sudden, I looked over at this, I don't know what he was driving. I think it was an Escalade or something. He had disabled veteran plates. I thought, you scumbag. How scummy. What a disgrace. Shameful. Absolutely abhorrent. Because I knew what he was. I don't think they were fake. I think he really was in the military. It happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. We gotta weed these crap sacks out. That's all there is to it. But I got fed up. I said, this time I'm not running. And I'm not gonna let him grab children. I'm not gonna be like everybody else that says, oh, it's none of my business, or, oh, well, who cares? It's not my problem. They're children. I know what that man is, and I know what he does to children. You're damn right I'm gonna stand up. And I stood up, and I confronted him. And all of a sudden I remembered I had this little coin in my pocket. And I pulled the coin out of my pocket. And I don't know if you can get a good look at that. I recommend you go to my posts. Let's see if I can get a close-up. Give me just a second here. Let's see if I get a little bit better for you. Okay. This is Janus. Janus is known as the opener and the closer of ways. And I found out because that filth bag I was married to when I came to Maine slipped up one day. Because I had stumbled across something called the Prophecies of Merlin. I don't even know if they're still on the internet. And Merlin had mentioned something about the offices of Janus. And I was curious. Well, let's see if I can find out what Janus means. And I stumbled across something on the internet called Janus Company. So don't you dare try to affiliate me with that filth. I already know what you tried to do. I was innocently looking for information. I was trying to solve a riddle. And I came across something called Janus Corporation. And I realized what it was. It is the largest pedophile, pedivore ring on our planet. And we know where the gates are. They're at the bottom of the Adriatic Sea. And like I told you, clowns, you are under the gun. And you don't even know it. But for my collective, after I got home, I did a little more research on this little beauty here. And I found out that Janus is the opener and the closer of ways. Janus is also the opener and the closer of cycles. I only probably read 3 or 4 things about her. And one of the things they said about her was that she would come at the end of the age. And in a totally different source, I read that she would come at the beginning of an age. And all of a sudden it clicked. And all of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm really her. She'll come at the closing and the opening of a cycle. At the closing of the age of Pisces and the opening of the age of Aquarius. Janus parts the way. And I was so angry. I was so angry. Just how sick and twisted their minds are. Janus does not date back to Rome. Janus might have been called Janus at one time, actually dates back to Atlantis. This is Atlantean, folks. It's Atlantean. Don't let them tell you it's Roman. They change our history every 101 years. They rewrite everything. Don't believe me? Go to Lisa M. Harrison. Thank you, Lisa. You've all helped me so much in putting this thing together and figuring out what's going on. Well, Janus also rules over agriculture. We're in the season of Virgo. Now on the back of this little beauty, we've got a wreath. Now, I encourage you to study the picture. Hold on a moment. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get the light on. We get a better look at this. There you go. Hold on. I'm trying to hold this in place, folks. I am not the greatest on this, that's for sure. Yeah. You go ahead and walk. I hear you, smartasses. I never made such claims. I ain't got an eagle that runs me all day and night like you clowns. You think I'd have asked for this? It scared the crap out of me. Sorry, talking to my enemies. Let me readjust my camera here. Someday, folks, I'll have better quality, I promise. Okay, that's as close as I can get it. So you notice the wreath. I'm not sure if those are laurel leaves or if it's barley. I don't believe it's wheat. You have a grapevine. You have what looks to be a hatchet, but I don't believe that's what that is. I believe that represents the left-hand path of Set and the right-hand path of man. The left-hand path is the west gate. The right-hand path is the east gate. And if you would like to have more understanding of that, I highly recommend you go to Yellow Rose for Texas, her YouTube channel. See what she has to say about the left and the right. So what we have is we have these psychopaths, these liars, put us off our thrones ages ago, and put the offspring of Set on the throne in our place, and drove us out into the wilds, and they've been pursuing us ever since. And we have come to a time of division, separation of the goats from the sheep, the chaff from the wheat. We've been divided up. Gosh, there's just so much information. I'm trying to stay focused on where I'm going with this. So I believe that those represent the left-hand path and the right-hand path. That's a choice we have to make. I'm trying to determine whether I should say anything else or if Spirit wants me to keep it at that for tonight. Not sure what the writing says. I looked up the word Tanae. The best translation I could get of it was ribbon. My guess is it's a red ribbon. And if you go back to Holy Blood, Holy Grail, that would indicate a bloodline. Don't know how to read the Greek. I'm not sure what it says. I haven't been able to find it yet. But Yellow Rose for Texas had shown a coin on one of her videos in regards to a coin that had been put out, and she was explaining like the little figures here. And this figure, as best as I can tell, it looks like it's part man and maybe part serpent or part fish. I'm not sure. But it looks like this is the right hand side, which would be man, here. But I'm not absolutely certain. Maybe I shouldn't even be teaching on this. But anyway, long story short, I believe this is the key to the abyss. And the Masons want it back really, really, really bad. And I have no doubt in my mind that this baby is solid gold. And I took it to have it appraised, and they told me it was gold-plated and it was a base metal, it was worthless. I knew they were lying. And that's okay. Because I figured if God wanted me to keep it, I'd keep it. And if God wanted me to turn it in for the money so I could pay my bills, well, then I'd turn it in for the money to pay the bills. I knew they were lying. And I walked out that door with a smile on my face. Oh, yeah. The scalies have been following me. The little witches have been following me. The little stalkers have been following me. Now the reptiles are really getting upset. And they're following me. Had a skinwalker in my apartment. Had 2 witches drop down through the ceiling of my apartment. I got people running out here with my bras. So who the hell are you, you damn tranny? And I got nothing against trannies. You know? You be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Don't you ever come in my apartment again, none of you. I can't get justice to the police force. We got a sorcerer on the police force. He's running around. He's forcing underage girls to give him oral sex. If he hasn't been caught already, you need to get hot on his butt, Lewiston. Get hot on his butt. And thank you, Navajo Nation. I know the Skinwalker is gone. I don't have knowledge of these things. I don't know why I'm not dead. But it was getting scary. It was getting scary. And that thing, let me tell you folks, those things can freaking move. Whew. I'd hear something knock over in my living room. I'd turn around. I never saw a thing. I know it was not human. No human being could have run out here that fast. But I had physical evidence of things being disturbed. That thing deserved to die. And Navajo Nation, I'm sorry for your loss. Because I know that they can't take on that shape unless they kill their victim. And I've seen it take on the shape of 2 people I knew. And I know they're dead. I know it devoured a child. And it tried to run into my apartment and I had to run it out of here. That was 4 years ago. I don't know how many people this thing ate. But that's why I posted Avenged Sevenfold. Because the first time I saw that skinwalker come through the park last night, I know I saw what looked like a Native American kid wearing a shirt that said Avenged Sevenfold. And I blinked and I looked, and when it walked by, it was wearing a totally different shirt. Or it was glamored, and it looked like it was wearing something Christian. I didn't realize I was looking at the shapeshifter initially. I thought my eyes I just looked at it wrong. But I knew whatever I was looking at was evil, and I confronted it. I told it flat out, you don't fool me. I know what you are. You don't fool me. I did not realize it was a skinwalker. I just knew it was evil. So thank you so much for getting that out of here. I think it was after my cat. She was terrified. She was licking me because she was afraid. She was digging her claws into me. These things are no joke. If you can have a cat, I highly recommend it. Get a cat, get a dog. They're the best protection you can have. They'll always alert you if something's wrong. But anyway, I believe this is the key to the abyss. And those chains that you clowns were looking for, if you haven't heard already, I believe I told you yesterday out in the middle of the road. Those are the chains of command. Baby, I'm not just one of the elect. I'm not just one of the 144,000. I'm the angel promised to the church of Thyatira, and I'm not going to tolerate you, Jezebels. I'm one of the 7. I'm an archangel. And I got the key. And I can't wait to try you and chain you up. And stand there with my beloved and throw you in and lock you up. Give me a moment, collective. I'm sorry, this is probably not as well spoken as I'd like it to be tonight. Will they try to kill me? I don't know. They might not. Anyway, a little background. The Masons had this. I don't know if they knew what they had. Or they knew what they had, and they couldn't open or close that abyss, but they doggone sure didn't ever want it to fall into our hands, that's for sure. I don't think they counted on Lou. Jack of all trades, master of none. I don't know. I kind of wonder. I think he was a bit of a master silversmith myself. But we'll see. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yes, I do believe the child that I have, when my beloved and I come back into union, is going to be Lou. And he's finally going to get a chance to live a decent life. and be given the respect he deserves. I really do believe that. I really do. And if I'm crazy, I'm crazy. I certainly am not going out of my way to be offensive. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not trying to be egotistical. This whole journey has been it was incredibly frightening, and it was incredibly overwhelming. I knew the minute I had a suspicion after seeing that white buffalo who I might be. And if I was, it scared the hell out of me. And this is the irony of it all. Of course, they probably brainwashed me so I couldn't remember. But my conscious recollection, I'd never even heard of the white buffalo woman until my aunt, Sheila, had taken me up to the Salt Lake City Mormon Temple. The tabernacle, the temple. Anyway, she took me there. And she had a friend who was Native American, and she was called White Buffalo Woman. And I asked my aunt what that meant. And she said, oh, it's not, I don't remember what they said. They just said, oh, it's a legend of the Native Americans, something about White Buffalo Woman. That was all I ever got about her. Period. That was it. And the only other information I had about White Buffalo Woman was on some VHS tapes my mom had. I don't remember the name of the series now. It was produced by Henry Winkler. It was like a paranormal type of show. And there had been an episode they had done on a white buffalo calf born back in 95, I think it was, and they named her Miracle. And all that they said was that when she appeared, it announced the return of the White Buffalo Woman. I hope I'm getting that right. Okay, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not perfect. If you're looking for perfection, good luck, because you're going to fall for a counterfeit. So, the point I want to make is to all of you out there, even if it's just still the little handful of my family and I'm batshit crazy, hang in there. Because I'm pretty sure this is the key to the abyss. And we're going to lock him up. And he's not going to go out and deceive anybody anymore. And we're going to get our thrones back. We're going to get our crowns back. I know my family is not the only line that this was done to. I know we have royal families all over the planet that were truly, honestly, and justly appointed by God Almighty. And we're going to get them back. We're going to get it all back. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to a worldwide party. Red Queen, I would love to see a worldwide concert that went straight on night and day and night for, I don't know, maybe 7-8 days and nights. We'll see what happens. Rise up your bow, folks. It's time to send the diddle. Diddle diddle. Can't talk tonight, I'm sorry. Rise up your boat. Get ready to play. It's going to be a party. And I remember that verse now. For the rich he has turned away empty, but the poor he has filled with good things. Good night. God bless. Stay safe out there, folks. And I'm praying for everybody. And I mean everybody.